Alright, welcome back. What we're going to have a look at right now is how to get these images that I've taken, and remember I've done this so that they all overlap, and combine them into a single image that I can use for my matte plate. Now remember, if you are able to get the entire image with a decent resolution, including all the assets that you want in one shot, fantastic, well done. But if not, this is a great technique. So there are two techniques to actually get this together besides having to go in and really manually manipulate them. So I'm jumping in here to Photoshop, and the first technique is to go to File, Automate, and all the way down the bottom, Photo Merge. Now this is actually sort of a pre-built automation, and still probably in testing phase, so if you do run into some issues with it, I do have another technique just in case. And essentially what you want to do is there are different techniques for lining your image. Now I usually recommend just sticking with auto. That usually works pretty well. Otherwise with some of these you're going to get fisheye distortion, but if you don't get what you want, do spend a bit of time testing out some of the others. Now remember, this can be quite it can take quite a few seconds for this to render because we are dealing with some serious number crunching here. There are some options here together: blend image together, fantastic; vignette removal if there is a vignette; geometric distortion correction could be a nice one to try out; and also content aware fill transparent areas. This one's hit and miss. Sometimes it'll do a great job, sometimes not. So play with that. I'm going to tick that on just to show you how it works. Then I'm going to hit browse and find my images. So images for matte, there they are there. I'm just going to shift select all the way through there and hit open. It's going to drop them in here, and then I'm going to hit OK. And of course you could do that individually with all your images. So remember, we're doing this without opening up a document. We're just going straight away to File, Automate. And here we go there, it's ticking along. So apologies for not time-lapsing through this, it won't take too long at all. But be aware, if you need to do this like 5-6 times, the time starts adding up. So this one will take a little bit longer as well, because we are not just doing auto align, we're also repairing the blank parts of the image, and we'll see how that sort of plays out once it's done. I am pretty sure there's going to be some weird things happening for that, and unfortunately we can't really do much else until that's sort of finished its process. Alright, here it is here, and I'm going to deselect that. So remember, Command or Control D to deselect. You can also go to Select, Deselect right there in our options as well. I do have my timeline up. I'm just going to close that off, Window Timeline. Do remember to clean out your workspace so you've just got what you need. In this case I don't even need colors for this at this point, so I'm going to turn that off just so I can see all of my layers right here. So this is what it's created. It's created an image that's a composite of all other ones, and if I turn this off you can see how it's kind of pieced them together like a jigsaw puzzle. It's taken parts from all of those, and overall it's done a pretty good job. If I zoom in, I've still got quite a bit of detail in this, even close up, and there are some weird things happening with the power lines. It will get confused if it's lacking data, or if there's weird things like power lines. There's some weird stuff happening on the road, but that's fine as well. And overall, that's a pretty damn good job. I'm quite happy with that. I'm actually going to turn this off and show you guys the other technique for doing this auto align technique. So I'm just going to close that, don't save. Now in order for me to do this one, you can have a document already open if you wish, but for this one I'm going to actually grab my image. I'm going to grab just the first image and I'm going to drop that into Photoshop. So just open it with Photoshop. So there's the starting image right there, and I'm going to grab the other images and just drag them into my document. Now note, if they've got this X in here, if you're dragging in from your computer or your hard drive or something like that, drag and drop, it will come in automatically as a smart object. So you just need to hit enter, or you can hit the tick up here and just start bringing these in and enter, 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 and you can see them starting to appear over here on the right in the layer panel. Here they are here. Please note that these are all smart objects. You can identify that by this little symbol here, and they're all smart objects. The background layer, which is the starting image right down here, is locked. So that's also an issue. So we actually need to address, remember with smart objects you cannot destroy them as such. So do consider that if you can't destroy them, that can be an issue if we're going to do things like auto align, because we will be basically destroying them. So what we're going to need to do is I'm going to shift and select all of those. I'm going to right click over here and go to rasterize layers. You can do it individually, but this just saves a bit of time, and that little icon has now gone. As with the background image, it is locked. I need to unlock that. Unfortunately, I can't just click up here and unlock it because this is the starting background. So all I'm going to do is double click on that layer. It's going to say, hey, do you want to name it? I couldn't be bothered. I'm going to delete it soon anyway, so I'm just going to hit OK, and that has removed the lock. So all of these layers are unlocked. All of these layers are raster layers. And then what I'm going to do is shift select all my layers. You can also go to select all, and then I'm going to go to edit, down to auto align layers, and click on there. And this looks very similar to what we just looked at. Once again, I'm just going to go with auto here. You can try things like geometric distortion if it starts doing weird stuff, if you need to play with it, but I'm just going to hit OK on that and let it tick through. Now what you might actually find is this is not going to have as nice a result as our previous technique, but we haven't finished yet. So here's our result, and as you can see, it hasn't filled out the blank layers. It hasn't even given me the option. There are some color variations and light variations, and also there's some alignment issues. So specifically, the ones I can see quite drastically are on the edges of these paving areas and stuff like that. But we're not finished. So with all these still selected, I'm going to go back to edit and go to auto blend layers. So I'm going to click on that one, and once again I'm going to leave this on panorama instead of stack images. Seamless tones and contour and colors, why not? Content aware fill transparent areas. Once again, that is the one that's going to fill in the gaps. So let's zoom out again. I'm going to hit Command 0 or Control 0 to get my entire image in screen, and go to edit, auto blend layers, so I can see everything. So these blank areas, content aware fill will try and fill those in. So that can be useful if it works. If not, leave it ticked off, and you can always try and fix it later. So I'm just going to leave that turned on for now and click that, and it will tick away. Once again, big data crunching. So we're going to end up with a pretty large image. So if your camera or your camera phone is not a massive pixel based camera, this could be a solution for getting a large image out of a relatively small resolution camera by taking in sections. And we can see it's sort of almost done there. And again, that's done a pretty good job. It's messed up on the content aware fill areas. You can see that outside of the selection area, but the other thing is it's fixed up a lot of the alignment areas. Now if it's not perfect, well, sometimes you're just going to have to deal, and you can go through and use some clone stamps and repair tools for that potentially. So I'm going to deselect once again, Control or Command D, and there is my final image. These images below, I really don't need them, so I'm going to shift, select, delete all of those, and there is my starting point for my digital mat. There are some stuff we need to have a quick look at that, and we'll have a look at that in the next section.